What's up, y'all? It's Southern Curl Tara here with a little therapy for your hair. Today I am attempting to dye my hair using Arctic Fox. This will be my first attempt since I was in college, which has been a minute ago. I just kind of got a whim. I have been wanting a little bit of a change. Don't want to do anything permanent. Don't want to do anything anti-curly girl. And so I've just been reading up on it, checking out a couple of the colors, and I was going to try one of the new colors, which is called Ritual, and it's a really dark burgundy, and I thought it would nicely give a little bit of a boost to all of my white hairs that are like taking over my head, and also just kind of give me a little bit more vibrancy. And unfortunately, they did not have it locally, and I am impatient and didn't want to wait on a delivery, so figured I should go with the moment and go ahead and try it while I was dedicated to the cause. So I have washed my hair and rinsed it out. I did use the Kinky Curly Come Clean to make sure I got all of the product and stuff out of my hair, and I have just let it air dry. I have not put any conditioner on it as per the instructions. And so what we're dyeing with today is Transylvania, and this is a blue black. It's just their blackest color, but it does have a bit of a blue base. And because of that, and some of the tips that they had on the Arctic Fox website, I'm actually going to just be adding a drop of Sunset Orange. I'm gonna add a little bit of that to the product so that as it fades, it stays warmer. Don't be put off by their seemingly lack of color options, because they do have a great website that gives you lots of options and suggestions for how to mix up the colors, and even talks to you about how the colors will fade. So it's a semi-permanent color. It will stain your hair, but it's not doing anything to lighten it. You don't use a developer or anything else. What you see is what you get. So this is a bottle of 8 ounces. I went ahead and picked up 2 because I didn't know how much it would take to saturate my hair. And I had also read from a couple of folks who said that they put on basically like 2 coats. So I'm gonna be trying this out. Once I put it on, I'm gonna leave it on for probably a couple of hours. The minimum time is 30 minutes, but because it is a conditioner, they suggest that you can leave it on longer to make sure you really get that color developed, or that color pigmented in your hair. And I'm gonna do that since my hair is low porosity. One of the other tips that they have is that you apply heat once you get it all covered. So I'm wearing an old t-shirt. I've got my hands gloved up. I've already put Vaseline around the edges of my hairline, on my ears, and even around the nape of my neck, just to help make sure I don't get any, weird lines or anything like that. So now I'm just gonna work on applying it with my hands. I did not pick up a brush because I figured I would just make more of a mess that way. So I'm gonna do it the same way that I do my deep conditioner or any of those other treatments. The other thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add my neutral protein filler into this, because this would be something I'd normally do anyway. And I've had a pretty good curl week, so I wanna make sure I keep up the structure of my curl. So since this is a conditioning treatment, I'm gonna add a little of the neutral protein filler just to make sure it doesn't get limp with the conditioning and with the moisturization. So let's get started and we'll see how this goes. So my first observation is that this stuff smells pretty good. It has a very pleasant scent, which is nice. It's very thick. So I just did add a couple of drops of neutral protein filler in. So that's gonna thin it out a bit. So just make sure you protect your work surface, because the pigment is very pigmented. So there's a good chance that the staining, especially with like a natural stone or something, won't come out. Again, I'm wearing an old t-shirt that I've had since high school. So it's already paint stained and everything else, and I'm not worried about getting any of that on me. And I have just made sure to pick up everything out of the floor, including my shower curtain is like doubled up over the top of the shower, just so that I don't get any splatters on it. So just make sure you protect your work surface and your person, so that you are not cleaning off dye for like the rest of your life. This is already a disaster. I have got half my hair done, and I've already gotten it on the door, all over the floor, on my feet, and on my face. Okay, I've used almost a whole bottle of this. I've literally gotten it all over my face. Had I realized I was gonna be that messy, I should have known I was gonna be that messy. Had I realized that I should trust myself, I would have covered my entire face in coconut oil. But since I didn't, we will just hope for the best, since I do have a little bit of makeup on. Just a little foundation and stuff, that maybe it won't stain so badly. I also just threw a big glop on the sink and didn't mean to do that. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping that I'm gonna be able to, oh, let's just throw that right there. I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to get all that off. Okay, so I've got the first coat on. I'm out of solution in my bowl, so I'm actually gonna take these gloves off since they're super messy. I'm gonna put some more stuff in the bowl to finish up, go back through it again. And I decided to use a fine tooth comb because as I started working in the conditioning color into my hair, it was still just getting a little bit stuck, and I knew I wasn't coating all of the strands of hair. So I am going to make sure I do that by combing through it and getting all the edges and stuff. So anyway, let's do that, and then we'll sit with let's do that, and then I'll sit with it under a dryer for 15-20 minutes or so to let it get started, and then I'm gonna just probably head out and actually give Willie a nice little walk today. So anyway, be right back. Okay, I have gotten all of the stuff put on. I am without a shower cap, so I'm looking for something to put on my head. I am literally covered, but as you saw when I was trying to finish up here, I did use some alcohol and was able to get some of that color off. It also came off of the like almost white paint in here, which was I was so happy about. And also I was just watching a video by the founder of Arctic Fox, who said that if you get stuff on you, you can also use coconut oil. So I have tons of coconut oil. I'll be slathering up in that while I percolate, and hopefully it will come off by the time that I am ready to clean myself up for the day. I had my hair up in a Walgreens bag. It's very, you know, professional. And I have an old headband that I often use when I'm doing treatments on my hair that I'm gonna do around the edges here, just so that as it warms up, nothing like starts to drip down on my face. Yeah, I can't even tell what's happening in the back of my neck there. It looks like I've got quite a lot of dye there, but I did just use a little coconut oil and was able to get some of the dye off of my ears, so that worked out lovely. And also I realized I had splattered some of the dye onto my vanity, the bottom part, the cabinet, which is actually, it's not a wood, it's one of those things, it's like a particle board covered with some kind of plastic paper. And I just knew that it was gonna be ruined, and actually it came right off with alcohol. So already I am impressed with the cleanup factor. Anyway, I'm gonna let it sit there. I'm gonna put some heat on my head, chill out for a bit, and then I will be back. Okay guys, this is gonna be a bit tricky. I have been sitting with my hair covered under my heat cap for about probably 40 minutes or so. I am going to rinse in the bathtub by probably using a cup to help get a lot of it out. I don't have a handheld in my shower, and they recommend not getting in the shower as you rinse it out, because they do want you to use cool or cold water until it runs clear. So I'm gonna hope for the best. There's not a great way for me to be able to make sure that it's rinsing away from my face. So I'm just gonna do my best to try to keep it out of my face as I rinse it out. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes. It still smells great. Sitting with it on was no problem. It didn't run down my face at all. There was a little bit on the headband, just because obviously it was like pressed right up against my my scalp. So anyway, I was able to clean up the bathroom with some alcohol. I had it all over the tile in here, and I just splashed a bit of alcohol around on the tile and wiped it up. My hands were covered, and I even had it like up on my wrist. I had some hand cleaner that I use when I paint or do home projects that is citrus based, and that worked great. So it's slightly abrasive, but not too bad. It smells lovely. And I was able to use that and get most of it off my hands with very little effort because my hands are a little more rough and textured. You know, I noticed that it was really sticking to the grooves. And so I think that that is a great tip to use, like a heavy duty hand cleaner that you might pick up at somewhere like Ace Hardware or Lowe's or Home Depot in order to cleanse your hands and do that more quickly so that you're not having to continue to try to use products or just scrub. So let's see what we've ended up with. I just had to stop and tell you guys that it seriously looks like I killed a Smurf in the bathtub. I am trying to rinse this out. You can see it's all over my face. And, oh, I'm gonna have to turn it around to show you. Yeah, so there is still a lot of product coming out, and the bathtub is like totally blue, and I'm dripping blue all over the phone. So I will have to resume rinsing, and we'll see. Maybe I used too much product. I'm not sure, but better too much than too little, I guess. This is absolutely not how I expected this to go. Oh my God, first of all. Also, my bathtub seriously looks like a crime scene. I started to have like a back spasm, so I had to stand up because I was rinsing and it was still just coming out pretty pigmented. So you see my hands are all yucky again. My face is stained, so let's hope I can get that off. And so I think I'm gonna have to jump in the shower and try to rinse it out. I'm just not able to get up here like I want to with my head bent over the tub. So I'm gonna do that. I'll be back with you as soon as I have it out, as soon as I have rinsed it out, and we'll see what it looks like. Well, it is the next day. Yesterday was an absolute production. So I can't even tell you how long it took for me to rinse all of the stuff out of my hair. I rinsed in cold water for what felt like an hour. I had to take a break, and then I rinsed some more until I finally just gave up and decided to let as much of the water soak out of my hair as I could with an old t-shirt, and just start to work on drying. So I applied some Olaplex over the top, hoping that that would help kind of seal the cuticle and hopefully stop some of the bleed. And then I rinsed that out with as cool of water as I could stand in the shower, and it was still coming out so blue. And so I made the biggest mess, and I still haven't got the shower cleaned out. I have scrubbed with everything imaginable. I finally had some success with Barkeeper's Friend. So if you've never used Barkeeper's Friend, it's good stuff. And we'll have to just get in there with some elbow grease later today. I found it all over the shower wall. I found it all over the wall above the shower. It was just, I mean, so messy. So the crazy thing is, after I got my hands all cleaned up and everything, and then went back and had to do another rinse, I had blue streaks all over my body, and I just did not have the energy last night to try to get them off. So hopefully that will wear away, you know, with my next shower. I will say though, despite all of that drama and trauma with trying to get it rinsed out, it looks great. The color is beautiful. My hair smells amazing, but it also just looks really nice and rich, and I got some good results. I'm not sure how much you guys can tell, but it really seems to have improved the look of my hair down towards the bottom where some of my more abused hair is. I cut off a ton last year, 5 or 6 inches, and got rid of a lot of dead weight. But I was noticing that at the ends, I'm way overdue a haircut, and at the ends, it's getting a little bit thin, and it was kind of just looking a little lighter than the rest of my hair because it was older growth and, you know, more abused just through daily life. So I'm very pleased. My curls seem to be looking pretty great. Yesterday I put on Camille Rose Curl Maker, and then I followed that up with some gel, and I think that's it. and worked with a diffuser on getting it to dry, let it dry a little bit on its own, and then added some more diffusing time at the end right before bed. I slept in a buff but did not scrunch out the crunch until this morning, and honestly I was going to do that on camera and I just kind of forgot. I got up and started messing with it to see what it would look like, and just failed to get the video rolling. So anyway, I just wanted to wrap up this video, tell you that a couple of tips. If you're going to do this at home, I would not do it if I was a renter, and I would not do it if I had a plastic bathtub. I just think you may not ever be able to get the dye out. You may find some tips online. I'd love to know if you have a hack for that. And I would also say just take your time and be patient. It would probably have been helpful if I had a friend here to help me. I would have had less of a disaster going on with, you know, it getting all over my face and everything else, because I was a one girl show. They recommend rinsing it out in the kitchen sink. My hair is too long for that. What I'm guessing, and I'm gonna chat with the folks at Arctic Fox one day this week. They have a chat feature that's available Monday through Friday. And I'm gonna just check with them and see if maybe I used too much. I used an 8-ounce bottle based on not only the owner's recommendation to use about twice as much as you would think would be normal, but also based on some of the write-ups that I read, where they said they went through and they did a layer, and then to make sure everything was saturated and covered, they did another layer. So I used a whole 8-ounce bottle, and it didn't seem like too much at the time, but maybe that's also why it was just like the rinse out that would never end. It was absolutely a shit show. Like I said, I haven't done this any kind of color at all, but definitely not a home color since I was in my early 20s, which has been, well, I just turned 40 last year. So it's been about probably 19 years since I've done anything like this. And so it was a fun experiment. I do think it looks really nice. The color is really rich. It looks healthier and shinier, and like I said, it smells amazing. I wasn't dissatisfied with my natural color necessarily, but I was doing everything under the sun to try to get my white hairs to behave. And just with the winter season, it was like they were just doing their own thing, and I noticed that it was harder and harder to kind of get my hair looking like it was all moving in the same direction. So I just wanted to try this out. My friend Kara challenged me to do this on a video, and so I took her up on that challenge, and like I said, I'm happy with the results. I think that we'll see how it fades out. I'll have to do an update. So this was a Transylvania, which is literally a black, and they consider it a blue black, and I added just a little bit of sunset orange to try to warm it up throughout the fade. They have a great blog on their website that tells other tips, including if you start to get a fade that isn't looking so awesome, other colors that you can layer on to help with the fading process until you're ready to either change color or just go back to your natural color. So I appreciate all the great tips that are there on their website, and all the other vloggers and bloggers who have written about this product. I did just learn that the owner of the company has just moved to Nashville, so maybe I'll get to meet her one day and can get some tips directly from her. She's a big YouTube influencer, does a lot of makeup tutorials, she's an animal lover, all these other things, so you might want to check her out. If you have questions or comments, or if you have had some experiences you want to share, hit me up in the comments section below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Here's a little postscript for my friend and stylist Mark. Don't worry, this is a semi-permanent dye. It didn't have any developer or lightener or anything else in it, so hopefully I have not done anything that is irreparable to my hair. I guess we'll see as it fades out if I'm gonna need professional help, but definitely if I try this again, I'm gonna have to come in and use the bowl at the salon to rinse all of this out of my hair, because I cannot destroy my bathroom again. This was way too much sugar for a dime.